Good morning, everybody. We're about to serve everyone lunch, so I'll do a little update on what's going on. I know it's only been a week since I've been here. Because of the weather, we rescheduled the canine program, and here we are again the first Friday of the month. I'm going to introduce, after everyone serves lunch, to Robin Putnam. She's a research and special projects manager employed by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. She can explain to you about her organization, and she's going to talk about skimming devices. This is a topic, too, you'll see up on our social media pages. I think it's going to be a very informative and hopefully protect everyone here in the room, but also, as you know, we're rebroadcasting over public access cable, which I think is fantastic. Just to remind everybody about the scams that are still going on out there, the IRS scam, getting a lot of phone calls on it. Remember, just hang up the phone. The IRS isn't going to call you. There was another scam. It was out of Spencer. PD was reporting it, where they have the ability now to basically put anyone's number up on your caller ID. So it was the Spencer Police Department's phone number, and they were basically demanding them pay a fine or they'd be arrested. The police department is never going to call you and tell you to give us your credit card or bank information to pay a fine or we'll arrest you. I promise you that. If we're going to arrest you, we'll show up at your house and do it properly. But we're not going to threaten you over the phone. Also, I really want to remind everyone, I know we've talked about it, and it's a very serious subject, the opiate problem we're having here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And everyone's really taken a very active role from the governor on down. We've got a police chief meeting coming up with the Franklin Safe Coalition. We're going to be trying to work on some drop centers and different things. I received an email today from District Attorney Early in regards to Narcan training and also providing us Narcan on the grants that they have. I think I told you last week, we've all been trained by the Uxbridge Fire Department to administer Narcan. We've had it for 3 weeks now, and we've deployed it twice and saved 2 lives. So it's a product that really works, and we're very fortunate that our district attorney is also supporting the cause on that. This Tuesday, March 8th, we're going to be holding a forum at Uxbridge High School at 7 o'clock, and it's the Uxbridge Coalition for Caring. And it's similar to the Northbridge forums that have been held and the Franklin forums, where we're going to talk about substance abuse, mental illness, and basically there'll be clinicians on site that'll be able to treat people if people have an issue, but also to support families. We're partnering up with the Miss and Matt Foundation. I have literature in all the cruisers. We just ordered some more for people that are battling addiction or mental illness, that we can provide hopefully some insight to help families that are struggling with someone that's facing those illnesses, but also treatment facilities and kind of where to go and what to do, because it can be very frustrating for everyone involved. So again, I thank you for having the police department here the first Friday of every month. Hopefully it'll be a little bit warmer next month. We're working on putting together a program in regards to driving as you're getting older. So we're going to hopefully, we're trying to coordinate that. If not, I'll have something else for you. But again, thank you very much for attending, and I look forward to seeing you next month. And Masha, would you like to say a few words? And remember to stay buckled up in the van. We want you guys safe coming home, coming here and going home.
Thank you, Chief. It's a pleasure, as always, to host these Speakers Bureau informational talks with our police department and our chief in particular. I want to also thank the students from OLV. I didn't get to meet you yet. Would you mind coming up and introducing yourself? For the benefit of our community, it's so nice when we are so busy to have such extra helping hands as the students from OLV. So welcome and thank you for coming. What's your name?
Hallie.
Hallie.
Lindsay.
Lindsay.
Mary.
And Mary. And what grade are you guys in? 8th grade. 8th graders from OLV. So we want to thank you so much for coming and helping us serve and clean up today. It really makes a difference. Thank you so, so much, okay? So I want to thank Cam, too, as always, for filming for us. We fail sometimes to mention that he comes in and does such a terrific job. And I want to thank Gail for putting everything on Facebook. okay? And we're particularly happy to hear what Robin Putnam has to say. I was so glad to get her email and invite her here today, because this is an issue that you hear a lot about on the TV recently. I heard it on the news this morning over in Attleboro. They discovered some skimming devices at a ATM at a Cumberland Farm. So it's an important issue, and it reaches beyond our walls. It reaches to the whole community. So thank you for filming today, Cam. All right, we'll just take a moment to give thanks. Lynn has prepared salmon for us today, house specialty. So we give thanks for that and our staff and one another. Okay, we'll just take a moment. Okay, at this time, I think everybody's been served, and I'd like to introduce Robin Putnam. Thank you so much for coming out today, Robin.
Thank you very much, and thank you so much for having me during your lunchtime. I truly appreciate it. Thank you very much for having me. My name is Robin Putnam, and I'm from the Office of Consumer Affairs and Business Regulation. My office is downtown Boston. And today we're going to kind of talk about credit card skimmers that have been found and in different locations, whether it's the gas pump or your ATM or point of sale, if you go to Home Depot or CVS, what have you. So the economic loss, why I try to talk about this subject is for every time a skimmer steals someone's credit card, it's roughly $1,100 worth of loss to that one consumer. So granted, it's not a tremendous amount of money, but if you think about it, one credit card skimmer can hold between 10 cards and 1,000 cards, if not more. So let's just say that one credit card skimmer was found by the Uxbridge Police Department. If it has 10 cards on it, that's over $110,000 lost just in this town alone. So I bring that up because it's a kind of a scary number, because skimmers are found nationwide. They're actually found all over the world. It's just a scary number if you think about it. What exactly is a skimmer? It's a very small device, and it's electronics. It's basically a mini computer, and they can be the size of a pack of gum, and they are used to capture your credit card number or your debit card number, and from that, they then use the skimmer fraudulently, and then will a lot of times create a new credit card in your name, and you have no idea, and someone is stolen your information and charging lots and lots of money to your accounts. So when the information is found on these skimmers, the information is usually either sold or it's downloaded and copied onto new cards, so that the scammer can make illegal purchases. And unfortunately, skimming equipment actually does have legitimate uses. For example, anytime you go to a craft fair and you buy a small trinket from somebody, they're using a skimmer, basically, on the top of their phone. It's a little teeny white disc. Everybody's seen it. I've gone to craft fairs, and it's just meant to take your credit card so you can pay for a small whatever you were buying at a craft fair. So that is actually technically a skimmer. So it's not like these skimmers can be banned outright, because they are being used legitimately. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people out there who are not using them legitimately. Skimmers can be found anywhere you use credit cards, whether it's at the ATM, at a hotel, in a restaurant, at the gas pumps, anywhere basically. And if a thief does his or her job properly, you can very rarely find these skimmers. A lot of the gas pump skimmers are actually internal. I was just giving a presentation to the Division of Standards, because their men and women are going to be going out. This is Weights and Measures Week in Massachusetts. So they're going to be doing sweeps to try to find these, identify them, and have them removed for the good people of Massachusetts. So some of the types of skimmers, majority for the gas pumps are internal, but there are external mounted skimmers. They're called false card readers, and they're placed over a legitimate card reader that's found on the outside of a gas pump. Some are Bluetooth enabled, so once a thief gets into a machine and places the skimmer, he or she doesn't necessarily have to ever come back. He can just do a drive-by and connect via Bluetooth and have that information downloaded and sent to his email account anywhere he or she would like. So the newer technology is enabling thieves just to embed skimmers directly into imitation card readers, and they sometimes will swap a complete card reader out in less than a minute and take out the legitimate card reader. So you can go on the black market. Unfortunately, I've done a lot of research. You can go on the black market, and for $1,000, you can purchase this card reader and then attach a skimmer and then take the old legitimate card reader out of the gas pump and put the false reader. Other things to look out for, there are high-tech pinhole cameras that have been found. They are concealed as, or covered as a mirror or a brochure holder that's sitting next to the ATM. And I'm going to be showing a lot of pictures, so it'll give you an idea of what to look for. So just for fun, not that I think you guys will ever see an internal skimmer unless you all decide to get a job with the Division of Standards. These are internal skimmers. This ribbon is what is the information line, basically. It goes from the card reader into the electronics. And this white thing is actually duct tape, and that's the skimmer right there. So the Division of Standard, though, their gentlemen and women are going out to look for those. This is another example of an internal one. This is the card reader. This is where you would slip your credit card into. And this would basically go all the way into the electronics. But unfortunately, we have this little thing right here, catching all of your credit card information. So these are the external credit card skimmers. This was actually found at an ATM. I think it's in Canada. So one time, if you're going to go to the ATM and get some cash out, you should definitely check out where you're putting your credit card. Compare it to the one next to you. For example, this is what it's supposed to look like. It's recessed. It's roughly the same kind of color as the rest of the machine. This is actually a bump out, and it's rubber, and it doesn't even match. It's deep, dark black. What I have noticed, if you ever Google pictures of external card readers and skimmers, sometimes they are funky, crazy colors. And I always mention this simply because these are major branded companies, whether it's Bank of America or Hess Gas or Chevron. They have spent lots and lots of money with their marketing department creating the color scheme for their company. So they are not going to have a credit card reader on their machine that's powder blue or a funky pink. They've spent thousands of dollars, and they would never do that. This is an exterior card reader at the gas pumps. It's just simply slipped right over the top. And this is just sort of an example that a policeman actually showed me. Mind you, all of this information I actually was given from different police departments, the U.S. Secret Service and FBI. So this is not just information I kind of found online. And this is just how to show you what the size of these things are. So there have been skimmers found at restaurants or at I think one was found at Starbucks. It was made the news. Someone was doing a drive-through, and she noticed her card was being skimmed twice. Once by the actual woman at the counter, and then she saw the woman go by next to the machine. And this would be something that she would use. Here's the size of a regular credit card, and here's the size of the skimmer. So this little guy, you can conceal in your hand. And this one was actually found at a Redbox. So you probably wouldn't recognize, it's just another little black bump out for the rest of the card skimmer. Well, the regular card reader for the Redbox shouldn't have another one on top. And this is actually what that looks like right here. Just to show you what the size, it's tiny. And some of these these little ones have been actually found at ATMs. So in order to get into the ATM kiosk, a lot of times you have to use your credit card to get in. Well, these guys have been found on top of the reader, so that you think, oh, there's just 2 readers just to get me into the, to take money out. If you see 2 of those, there shouldn't be 2 of those. You should contact the branch manager and say, hey, something's not right. Take a picture of it. This is another overlay. For example, what it's supposed to look like, is this. That's where you put your credit card in. That's the normal thing. And then this is the external card reader that was just quickly slipped right over. And when I was talking about colors, this is where I was talking. These are ATMs. Now, I don't know the brand name, I don't know which ATM company this is, but my guess is they would never use a funky yellow and a powder blue together. I don't know any banking company that have any of those color schemes. And if you'll also notice, it's a little hard to see, but I'll try to show to you. This yellow, there are little arrows going into, sometimes they have arrows to show you, put your card here, little arrows like this. This external skimmer is covering up part of the arrows. So whoever made this machine isn't going to design a machine to cover up part of the artwork that they're going to design. For example, the picture on your left, this is the external card reader, the skimmer, right here. It's a slightly different color, and what you can't tell is actually it's also a different type of material. The rest of the machine is actually hard metal, and this one was actually found to be sort of a plasticky, very loose, wobbly piece. Another example is if something looks odd or different and it doesn't seem to make sense for a machine, whether it be the ATM or if it's going to be the gas pump. It's not a technical term, but give it a wiggle. Grab it and see if it moves. These skimmers are not meant to stay on very long, and a lot of times they're held on with just double-sided tape or some junky glue. Sometimes you can see the residue of the glue that comes out. These are some other examples. This one actually is foreign. I don't know where this was. I don't even recognize the language. But anyways, again, it's a lighter gray. It doesn't match anything around the rest of the machine. And if you'll notice, there's all these scratch marks. Now this is a metal machine. Something that's going to make that many scratch marks is not going to be your fingernails or a pen. That's actually going to be made by someone who is trying to take off that card reader, whether they're using a screwdriver. Anything that's going to make these heavy marks is not a normal thing. And as you can also see, the regular card reader is in the back. So why would you have another card reader over that and cover up the different colors and cover up the rest of the machine? Who would design a machine to do that? This one on the right, I don't know where this was found, but it's a different color. It's a funky green anyways. But this gray is a lighter gray, and it doesn't match the rest of the machine. And also, if you notice right here, that's a pinhole camera. It's tiny. Not many people would even notice that, but that's actually, when you go to the ATM, always shield your fingers with your other hand when you type in your PIN, because there are pinhole cameras trying to capture whatever the numbers you're going to be typing in. And these are sort of another example of a part of the skimmer. These are overlays for keypads. So another example, this one on the left. This one, first of all, it's not straight. So that should key you in right there. That's not straight. Second of all, it's incredibly marked up. Again, you can't make those, that's metal. How does someone do that? They're using a screwdriver to get that off. Now, below it is the actual skimmer. Again, it's not straight. And if you notice on the right-hand side, there's glue. Someone was using just junky glue to keep it on. So if you see something, if you see a credit card, where you're supposed to put the credit card, the reader, if there's stuff coming out of it underneath, that's not normal. No credit card reader should have glue dripping out or anything else, and it shouldn't be horrendously marked up because they're supposed to be made of really good, solid material. This is another example of a keypad overlay. And unfortunately, this is a really bad keypad overlay. It's already coming up. Now, and I don't know about you, but anytime you go and look and you're going to be typing in your PIN, if the keypad is already kind of coming up, that's probably not a good keypad to be using. Whether or not it's actually a skimmer or not, that actually has been compromised, and you probably should not be using it. And I was talking earlier about the hidden cameras. So hidden cameras have been found at gas stations and ATMs. They are hidden sometime as a brochure holder. So when you're going to buy whatever gas, someone might put next to it, hey, buy our credit card, whether it's Shell or Chevron or whatever. It's just a ploy. And sometimes, if you look very carefully, right underneath here is where the hidden camera was found. Now, if you also notice, it's also held on by double-sided tape. Not very smart scammer. And what thieves have been doing as well is they've been placing these mirrors above you. And it's meant to fool the consumer, because what it does is, as a person, you walk up, and maybe it's after dark, and it allows you to see who's behind you. Great, that makes you feel safe. That's wonderful. You want to know if some crazy person's behind you who's going to rob you. Guess what? The crazy person who's going to rob you is inside here. So because inside of this mirror, there's a little pinhole camera right there. And underneath, you can't really see this picture, unfortunately. There's a tiny one that was found here. So this is sort of a double-edged sword. This is getting your PIN number, and below it is a credit card reader that's been compromised to take your credit card information. So they're getting both your information number-wise, and then they're getting your PIN. So be on the lookout when you go use these machines. I find I'm a little crazy. Whenever I go up to an ATM or the gas station now, I look at everything. I'll give it a wiggle, and I probably look like a fraud, but I give everything a wiggle. If it looks weird, different, funny colored, different material, why not? I don't want my information stolen. It's a problem and a hassle to fix. Some gas stations are using tamper-evident seals, which is wonderful. I just heard from the Division of Standards that some mobile gas stations are using them, and they are also getting their logos printed on the actual tamper seals, which is great. So if you look at a gas station, or actually now banks too, if there is a tamper-evident seal, look at it. Has it been sliced? Has it been removed? Does it look like someone tried to remove it? Some of the tamper-evident seals, if you start to tamper it, it will void itself out, and it will say void all over it. So if you are somewhere, whether it be gas station, ATM, point of sale, and it says void, I wouldn't use that machine. I would talk to the manager and say, this has been voided out, there's a problem. And these are examples of the tamper-evident seals. So the picture on the left, it actually has been sliced in half. It's a little bit challenging to see, but if you're really paying attention and you know what to look for, and if you do see this, I wouldn't use this gas pump at all. And this actually has not, which is great. This is a newer, it will say void open if someone does try to open that machine. These are a couple other examples. So as I was saying, some of these major companies are having their brand name put right on the machine. That's great. It's a lot more challenging to, for a frauder to buy these. So for example, this was Hess Gas. They have their little logo, and you can see that it's actually also has a serial number, and it has not been tampered with. So in the pictures on the right, this is a normal security seal that has not been voided, therefore no one has tried to get into it. But the machine below, the seal below, if you can't read it, it does say void. That has been voided out. Someone has tried to either get in, move it around. Something has been up with that machine. And if you see something like that, you should talk to the station manager and say, why was this voided out? Has it been looked at? So some tips to help everybody keep everybody a little bit safe. When you're at the ATM or if you're at the gas pumps, compare the card readers next to you. If they all look the same, that's great. If one card reader looks a little different or is a different color, it's a different material altogether, I would avoid using that machine. And the same thing for your keypads when you're at the ATMs. Look at them, touch them, give them a wiggle. Are they loose? If they're loose, do not use them at all. You shouldn't be, if these things were made and manufactured by major companies that don't want anything, they shouldn't have any loose parts. Anything slightly askew is everything, as one of the pictures showed, the card reader and the keypad overlay were not straight. They weren't in line with each other. So if you see something that's totally askew and it's a little loose, that's another red flag. Any scratches or funny adhesive tape residue that's around one of the card reader, look around. Sometimes if there is a Bluetooth skimmer that's tucked inside an ATM or tucked inside the gas pump, there sometimes might be a thief hanging about waiting for you to do your business and move on, because then he or she can walk by with their Bluetooth and get your information. And tips for using the gas pumps: use the gas pumps that are closest to the attendants, and also that have really great lighting. The darkest and the furthest gas pumps can be an ideal target for the thief, because it's a little bit harder for the gas attendant to see them. And if you do feel really nervous, you can always go inside. Go inside and pay with your credit card or pay with cash. And if you do see something that doesn't look right, you should tell someone immediately. Tell the gas station attendant. Tell the bank manager. Or if you're friendly with an officer here in Uxbridge, talk to the police department. Say, hey, I was just at this ATM. Something looks really weird. Can you go inspect? Because they have the right to go in and look. And if something is found, they can actually do the fingerprinting to see who the thief might possibly be. I always tell people to stay away from the ATMs that are not located in a publicly visible and very well lit area. Don't use the one on the side of the building that's dark and hidden away. That's just, you're asking for trouble, I think. And when you're using your PIN, anytime, try to cover with your other hand so that you never know who's kind of looking over your shoulder or if there's a hidden camera. So what we're doing right now is to combat skimmers. The new chip and pin technology is helping. Pressure sensitive security tape. I was at the Division of Standards conference this week, and some of the pump companies are designing new security locks for their gas pumps, which is great. And some of the newer gas pumps have electronic measures, so that if anybody tries to get into that machine, the whole machine will shut down, just like that. And to open it up and get the machine going again, you need a security code that a lot of times comes from the manufacturer. And things that you can do: try to monitor your accounts on a regular basis. It's not exactly the most wonderful read, but if you check your bank account and or your credit card account every couple of weeks, just look at it. Is anything out of the normal? Is there a payment of $50 here, $20 here that you don't recognize? That's one of the easiest ways to keep track of yourself and to make sure that you don't become a victim of fraud and identity theft, and have your bank accounts drained or your credit card charged up tremendously. And if you do notice these things, if something is not right with your bills, notify your crediting agency as soon as possible. Whether it's your credit card, or your banking institution, call them up immediately and say, hey, I think there's a possibility I'm a victim of fraud. I'm not sure how it happened, I'm not sure when or where, but we need to look into this. You can also sign up for fraud alerts. My bank and my credit card both have fraud alerts for me. And anytime I even go outside of my town, I get a quick phone call. Where are you? We noticed a $20 charge in Uxbridge. You don't live in Uxbridge. Well, I'm actually getting gas and I'm doing a presentation. And I got that call an hour ago. So I'm fine with that, totally fine with that. But it's just a way to keep you a little bit safer, because the credit card companies and your bank, they don't want to see you get hammered with bills and have problems. And as I was mentioning, if you are a victim, contact your bank. File a police report. Go down to the police immediately and say, hey, this has happened and it could have happened here. They would like to know. They want to know. File a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission. You can also, if you think it had something to do with your credit card, not your bank account, you should call the 3 crediting agencies, TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax, and let them know that something could be askew. Say, look, I might be a victim of fraud. Can you please put a freeze on my account? I don't want anything to happen to my credit score. And this is sort of the last one, but don't get skimmed, do the yank and twist. This actually came from a police department, which I thought was kind of funny, but it's very simple. If something looks weird, out of color, different material, give it a shake. If there's a skimmer there, it will move, and that's just a red flag right there. And if you do find something, you could call the police, and you should also talk to the gas station attendant. You can call the bank manager. Does anybody have any questions? I probably scared everybody. Yep.
You talk about cards. Well, I have a credit card. Is it different than the kind of cards that you're talking about?
You have a credit card?
Yes.
Sure. You should be monitoring your credit card, if you can, once a week, every couple of weeks. If you monitor it, you'll be able to see if something fraudulent happens.
But you're talking about another kind of card.
Your debit card. People sometimes use your debit card or your credit card to purchase, whether it's gas or go to the ATMs.
But I always give the card to the person that fills my tank, because I'm too lazy to go out and get gas all over my hands.
Sure.
Is that a problem?
It could be. I don't want to say it is, because I don't know the person. But if you're giving your credit card, exactly, but you don't know who they've hired. And I'm not putting down any business at all. What I'm saying is, if you are giving your credit card to someone, whether it be at the restaurant or at the gas pump, that's a small amount of liability. You're giving it to somebody else. I'm not saying that there are some fraudsters out there. So what you can do is monitor your accounts. So just monitor. It's a boring read. It takes you 2 minutes, but go and look at your bank account every month and your credit card and say, okay, everything looks normal, fine. But if per se something does happen, you'll be able to catch it and call your bank immediately and say, hey, I didn't make this fraudulent purchase. Something's wrong here.
When you go out to eat, they can actually bring the little thing to your table.
Yes.
And you can swipe it yourself.
Yes. And I would still, even with those machines, I would still monitor. I know I sound really ridiculous, but the best way for you to keep yourself safe is to monitor your own counts. If you don't monitor them, someone else in your family should, but it's just, I got frauded with my FastPass. $485 worth of FastPass in the state of Maine. I haven't been to Maine in a year. But I would never have caught it unless I went online to check something one afternoon, and I was like, oh my heavens, I haven't been to Maine. Where are all these, what's going on here? And I immediately called the Department of Transportation and said, there's something wrong here. I haven't been to Maine. This doesn't make sense. And there was a breach in Maine with their fast pass, from what I understood. But if I would never have noticed if I didn't actually simply go and check it out. They're not really exciting reads. It's going to take you 2 minutes to walk right through your credit card or debit card with all your purchases. Did you have another question?
How about the mobile speed pass at the gas station? Can that be skimmed?
I have heard regarding those ones that it's more difficult to scam those. I haven't heard any. I usually hear about all kinds of wacky scams because I get lots of reports from police departments. I haven't heard anything regarding those. But again, I would just, if it's the Speed Pass credit card with mobile, just check the account. Just check it.
You put it on a certain plate and then another side lights up. So if you're not putting that in any kind of swipe or anything.
Correct. But to keep yourself safe, you might as well just check, because you never know. Can I answer any more questions? Thank you.
So I'd like to thank Robin for coming out today. Very informative presentation. And just to advise everyone on some of the things that she said, if you do become a victim of identity theft, someone uses your credit card, bank accounts, we have identity theft packets at the police station. And what it is it will basically walk you through everything that she's telling you about who to notify, different credit agencies, government agencies, etc. So please, if you are victimized, please take advantage of that service that we do have at the police department. Also, just to advise everyone, you guys met Canine Bear last Friday. We'll be doing a presentation for the Blackstone Valley Chamber of Commerce at Northbridge High School tomorrow at 10:30 in the morning. And also, again, to remind you, we have the prescription drop-off in the lobby of the police department headquarters. And again, we destroyed 78 pounds of prescription medication a couple of weeks ago, Detective Pryor and Officer Smoot. So it's definitely an effective tool. It's right in the lobby of the police station. Please utilize it. And again, I thank you for your attention and for having the police department here speaking to you today.